Hey guys, welcome back to the C2C podcast. Coach Andrew here. I want to talk about strategy. Do you need more strategy inside of your business, and why maybe we should stop looking at more how do I do this, and more what program should I put out there, what offer should I do, and instead focus on something more impactful, which is the when and the why. And the reason why I want to have this conversation with you guys today, and I call it a conversation, is because I'm coming across so many coaches who know the how. There's no surprise or no strategy that you don't know on how to be able to create a self-paced program, how to run a group offer. You know how to run a one-on-one session. You know how to delegate to a team. We all know the how. We also know the how into creating content and writing social media posts. And you built a business to the point largely on learning the how. And yes, we can do the basics better. We can market better. We can create better programs. We can create better content. All of these things will contribute to growing and building our business. 100%. You cannot deny that the better you do the basics, the more your business is going to continue to scale. However, there comes this point in your business where now you know all of the how and you hit your first real peak in business. With every peak, there comes a valley. Peaks always have valleys attached. So heads up, if you're in a peak, you'll hit a valley at some point. And the real peak, the real pinnacle is where you know all of the how. You understand how to do everything inside of your business. You also know what you need to be working on. And yet for some reason, your business is stagnant in its growth. You can't get past your client cap. You can't get past generating more leads. You can't get past filling your one-on-one sessions. And so you're saying to yourself, what the hell do I do from here? Where do I go from here? And this is where now you have to start pivoting away from how and the what do I do, how do I do it, and start pivoting to the way that a founder and a CEO thinks, which is where and why. And where and why are two very powerful questions. Why, I'm sure, is very easy for you to understand. It is the why behind why you are doing what you are doing. The majority of the times, our whys change as we transition through our business. We get into a space where our why at the beginning is I just want to help a bunch of people and I want to fill my time. And that's a very simple and easy why for you to get behind your business. But then you become full, and then you've helped a lot of people, and you're saying to yourself, well, I keep growing as a person, I keep learning more information, and I keep regurgitating the same thing over and over again to all of my clients. Now your why, without you even realizing it, has started to change. It's started to shift. It's no more, well, I just want to fill my time. Now your why is becoming the leader. It's becoming the visionary. You're saying to yourself, my why is I don't just want to help as many people as possible. I want to help the right people. I want to be the person speaking on stage. I want to be the person hosting retreats. I want to be able to write the book, to share my message en masse. I want to be able to be that person who is so much more than just the person who works inside of their business. I want to be CEO. And as your why starts to change, it no longer becomes about money, it becomes about impact, it no longer becomes trading your time, it becomes buying back your time to receive your freedom, and it becomes about protecting your energy. Everyone you know who is making 30K plus months inside of their business heavily protects their time and heavily protects their energy. They don't just throw it away willy-nilly because they recognize how precious it actually is. So without you realizing it, somewhere along the journey of building your business, your why has changed. My why changed many times. I had 4 separate businesses, and I did not realize that my identity had changed, which is why I was going from business to business. First, I had an in-home personal training company, and I said to myself, oh, I'm going to build this company. And by the way, it wasn't that these companies weren't successful. They made me great money, but it's the same problem kept coming up over and over again. It was actually kind of like a really bad relationship where week after week, day after day, I was coming across the same problem. And then I was like, well, I guess I should just transition and start a new business. And it was fun and it was exciting and it was new and it was sexy. Kind of like new relationships, and then boom, all of a sudden, new business becomes just like old business. And I'm like, what the hell? Where was the makeup? How come I'm waking up and you're looking different? And what I realized is that it had nothing to do with the businesses, it had everything to do with me. So I ran my in-home training model. And when I had the in-home training model, I brought on new team members. We started to change the positions. I started to increase the price, but nothing changed the fact that I was still trading my one-on-one time, and I felt like I was a glorified rep counter. So then I said to myself, forget going to people's homes. That's a waste of time. I'm going to build and create a studio. Amazing. And then guess what? We had a hard cap at 110 people, and I found myself trading my time again. And this time I started shortening the session times and bringing on more team members, but then I had to fill their time. And then I ended up still trading time for money, because then I started sacrificing my time for my team to fill their schedule, still being stuck in the business. So then I said to myself, no, forget this. This doesn't really make any sense. I'm going to start a supplement company, because that's reoccurring revenue that actually doesn't take my one-on-one time. But then somehow I started being the one packaging the orders inside the boxes and shipping stuff and creating supplements and going through nutritional recipes to make sure that the supplements were high quality. And I felt myself doing and trading my one-on-one time again. Every single business ended up the same way. And it took me all of those businesses before I transitioned to online, before I started running group offers and online offers and self-paced programs, to recognize, holy cow, I'm the bad person in this relationship. Without me realizing, my identity changed from practitioner and technician to business owner, CFO, and founder. You see, I wanted a founder's business. I wanted a CEO's position. I wanted a business owner's life, but I wasn't actually doing anything different to create that life for myself. And because I wasn't doing anything different, every single one of those businesses became the same. Your why has changed, and you don't even realize it. And it took me 3 years of that last business at the facility until I was in Costa Rica and I was working on my business, and I was like, why am I operating like this when this is not the vision that I have for myself? So you have to ask yourself, when was the last time you actually revisited your mission, vision, and values? And people are like, oh, MVV, I've seen this so many times. No, you really do need to understand your why. And your why changes. Truthfully, the very beginning of my business is the reason why I went into the health industry in the first place. My why was very simple. I had a bunch of hormone issues. I hated going from professional to professional, specialist to specialist. I was tired of being neglected, and I never wanted anyone to face the same thing that I faced with my health. I had a coach who helped and changed my life, so I went into the industry, and so my why truly was to just fill my time and help people. But then my why changed. And my why pivoted from helping people to, holy cow, if I'm working one-on-one with someone right now in an individual session, when I'm helping them, it's another person I'm not helping. I went back to my why and said, well, if my why is really about helping people, I'm doing myself and them a disservice by continuously trapping myself in the one-on-one cycle. You can't do one-on-one anymore. You can't have individual package sessions anymore. You can't keep doing admin tasks and billing and editing content. That stuff is not going to serve you. It won't. And this is where you have to say to yourself, what is my why now? Why am I doing this? Why do I want a business that makes more than 30K months? Why is running a business important to me? Why is my free time important? Why do I want a vacation? Why do I want to travel with my family? Why do I want to be able to have weekends off? If you can't answer those questions, then of course you will never generate a life that creates those things, because you don't have any clarity on what it is. We need to be able to answer these questions. My why, I wanted a business that helped more people without trading my one-on-one time. I want to help as many people possible, and I still do. And that's why I transitioned into coach to coach now. Because my next journey is helping you as the professional, the practitioner, sign on 5,000 people because I'll change more lives through you than I will myself. My why is still the same. But I understand it and I'm clear with the lifestyle that I want to live. So the why part is very important. But then we need to look at the when, and I go the when/where. When/where refers to the way that you are operating every day inside of your business. Where are you not making changes in your business because energetically you just refuse? And when are you going to start taking back your time and your energy? It's all about when and where. You can say you want to continue to grow, but if you're doing all of it yourself, you're not going to have any time, energy, or capacity to grow past that. So, where are you not making the changes? Where are you refusing to do something different? Where are you more likely to make mistakes or do a poor job where someone can step in and actually take care of that and do it better than you? Ask yourself those questions, because I did, and that fundamentally changed my life. And then when? When are you going to take your freaking time back? When are you actually going to start delegating, automating, systematizing your back end, transitioning away from one-on-one so you can free up your time, your energy, and your capacity for you to be able to grow? If you can't ask or answer the when, where, and why, you're always going to be in this state. And by the way, your life's not bad right now. Your business is great, but it's capped. You are at the peak of when, where, why. And you know the how. You know the what. Guess what? Another program's not going to solve this. Another marketing campaign, not going to work. Guru that says, hey, we're going to run a bunch of ads to this thing, it's not going to work because your why is not aligned. Because you're just taking shots in the dark, throwing things at the wall, hoping it's going to work. And I was there too. I made a lot of those mistakes. And it took me sitting in Costa Rica, looking at my computer, recognizing I'm in another country and I'm still working, to be like, what on earth am I doing? What am I doing? You have to ask yourself that. Because guess what? I ask so many coaches inside of C2C, what is your end game for your business? Most of them never considered an end game. Do you want to retire and exit your business like I did? Do you want your business to continue running without you? How will that be possible if you don't switch to group one-on-one or online or self-paced courses? Do you want to be able to have someone maybe buy out your business from your team? What does your end game actually look like? Most of you never think that far. And yes, you could say, well, I'm living in the moment. I'm doing my passion work 100%. But guess what? You're not going to want to do that forever. Things change. Like I have a child coming on the way in 2 months. And I'm so fortunate that I've designed my life to be able to accommodate these things, that Lauren and I can take spontaneous days off, that we can show up to all these appointments, that we have our own individual schedules, but our own free schedules, where some of us will always be able to be with the kid, no problem, no sweat. Our lives actually won't really change that much besides sleep, obviously. And you can have that too. You can have that freedom and that flexibility. But the how's not going to get you anywhere. And this is where you have to change searching for coaches and searching for the agencies to searching for mentors. Like I do a lot of mentorship inside of the C2C because when you work with a coach, they tell you the how. When you work with a mentor, they tell you why the how isn't working. So if you're doing all of the right things inside of your business, but there's no click, you're energetically disconnected with something, you're doing things at random, or sometimes it feels a little bit out of anxiousness or frustration, and you're like, oh, I'm just trying to force this to work, trying to jam the key in the hole, and eventually it'll unlock, but I know that that key's stuck in there. This is where we have to start looking at the whys. We have to start looking at the wheres, and we have to start looking at the whens. This is the real work. That's why I call it the real peak. The real peak is your identity. It's always been your identity. You have an identity that has transitioned from practitioner and from technician into CEO, and you haven't even realized it yet. And there's a lot of reason why you haven't realized it. Maybe you're afraid of fully transitioning. because there's a lot of you that love still being the practitioner. I get it. I love being a coach. But you know what? I love helping people more. I love business more. I was able to transition out of coaching into business coaching. Maybe the identity, a part of you doesn't believe that you deserve it, that you're the actual CEO, that you deserve a good life where you can travel multiple times a year. Part of me didn't believe that either. I always thought I'm not the guy until I realized, holy shit, I am the guy. Because there's a lot of hack jobs out there that are doing way better with a lot less. And I'm like, I know 10 times the amount of information that they know. Like I know every practitioner who's listening to this C2C episode right now, I know you know 10 times more than your competitors, no sweat. I know you sit in audiences of people teaching the same thing you do, and you're like, I already know this. I know you know it. You are the professional already. But maybe a part of you, here's the big one for the identity, part of you knows that it's going to be more work to step into that identity. You're saying to yourself, well, if I step in, that means I got to change. It means things are going to be different. It means I'm going to have to put more effort. I'm going to have to be the A player. And I was comfortable coasting at B player because it was generating me money. It was giving me a predictable life. But we can't be there anymore. The identity is the largest part of the change. And when I'm working as a mentor with coaches inside of Coach to Coach, it's largely about getting them into a space where they can gain full alignment with their business. When you're fully aligned with everything you're doing in your business, it becomes easier to step into that identity because you're not doing things with friction. As an example, like for the longest time, one of my coaches, this was ages ago, kept on saying, you got to do consults, got to do consults, got to do consults. You got to have a slide deck when you do them. I'm like, I have a slide deck for consults? That's ludicrous. Forget what this person is saying and how they're pouring their heart out to me. I'm just going to cram into some like session-based slide deck. It's ridiculous. And I said, that's not me. I was out of alignment from the very beginning. Not to mention, consults at that point were a little bit out of alignment with me because I had a fear of sales. And it took me a long time to say, you know what? I have the fear of sales because I'm doing the consult in a way that's out of alignment, which is with a slide deck. So I went against the grain. And guess what? I did not apply my mentor's advice. And at that time, I was just working with a coach. And I stopped the slide deck. And you know what? My fear of sales went away because I just started having conversations. And it started to work, and then I became in full alignment with it. And now I love doing consultations because I love having real conversations with people. So working with a mentor is all about getting into a space where you can realign with your why, and you can understand the when and the where. This is what skyrockets you past that next peak. This is what gets people way past 30K months. And I'll tell you, from 30K to 50K is way easier from 0K to 30K. And the reason why is once you step into the identity of the CEO, your ads are aligned, your social media is aligned, your marketing's aligned, your promotion's aligned, your calendar's aligned, your team's aligned, and everything just starts firing off like clockwork. It really does become streamlined, because now you're riding the wave. So remember how I said every peak has a valley? Yeah. When you slide down that peak, imagine the amount of speed you pick up. Imagine the amount of momentum you are building because you've hustled and you've climbed your way all the way top to this snowy peak, and then you put on a snowboard and you have the ride of your life to the next peak. And the key becomes how fast do you create that momentum to get you up as higher or as high as possible to the next peak, because there's always a next peak. And this is where also too, when you're focused on the how and you're focused on like, how do I do this? What do I do? That stuff's not passion based. It's not intuition based. That stuff is actually going to keep you in largely a stuck state. And it took me actually joining a very expensive mentorship container. I joined a container that was, the price was ludicrous. And I say ludicrous because to the day, it's probably the most expensive container that I've been in. But I hop into the container thinking that I was going to learn new tools. I was going to learn a brand new funnel that would completely game change my business, or I was going to learn this process that would completely game change my content. And then I went in and I was having conversations, and they were all the same. They were the same conversations that I was having, just like I was with all of my other coaches. And that's when I realized it's not. It's not about learning more how. There's actually no more how past what you know already. If you know how to create one offer, you know how to create many. If you know how to systematize one thing, you know how to systematize it all. If you know how to delegate one thing, you know how to delegate the other things. But you have to realign with it. You have to fully understand the why behind it. And that's why I share this with you today. All of the coaches who work with me inside of Coach to Coach know this full well, that there is something inside of their business that they are out of alignment with. And that is the friction point that is preventing them from going to the next level. And when they start working with us, we help them work through that. Now, I wanted to share with you guys as we end this session or episode for today, I wanted to share with you, if you haven't, because right now I'm filming this in September, there's the Overflow series. It is a 5-day series of 5 separate trainings that will help you transition from that I'm seeking the how to I'm actually transitioning and becoming the CEO. But on top of that, it gives the step-by-step process on the next offer, being able to create a group program or a self-paced program. There is so much in the series. I've actually decided to open up the series, and I'm going to be putting it right after this episode in the C2C YouTube channel. And the reason why I'm doing that is because the series was incredible. It was absolute fire. Tons of practitioners and coaches came on. They said, this is so game changer. And I had messages saying, I want to share this with other professionals. And I was like, if you want to share it, that makes me want to share it. And I'm opening it up completely free to you. Inside of the Overflow series, we are also launching an additional 4 spots for the Overflow Upgrade. Guys, it is a fire program. The Overflow Upgrade actually has my team insert itself into your business to take care of all of the automation and delegation, to take care of the program setup, to help you create your new offer, where you and I then go and work on your alignment so you can launch your next thing and take off with a freaking sail behind your snowboard. That's not even a thing that people do, but we do it here. You literally have a kite and you freaking take off, riding down that slope to the next peak, having a hell of a time. Hands down, you cannot miss this. The Overflow Upgrade has 4 spots through September, and there's special bonuses, but you only get the bonuses when you are watching and are a part of the series. You don't need to register for the series. You don't need to pay for the series. It's going to be completely free on the C2C channel. I will drop it in live here. Thanks, guys, so much for listening to another episode. Start focusing on the where, when, and the why, and no more how, and watch the Overflow series. That's all for this episode. We'll see you later.